The flashing red and blue lights sliced through the quiet of a late Georgia evening. A black SUV had just pulled over to the shoulder of a country road, its engine still humming softly. Inside sat General Marcus Tillman, a man whose service ribbons told a story of valor, leadership, and sacrifice that few could match. But tonight, none of that mattered. Not his 4 stars. Not the decades he'd dedicated to defending the very flag stitched onto the patch of his uniform jacket. To the young police officer striding toward his window, Marcus Tillman was just another black man driving a suspicious vehicle through a white neighborhood. License and registration, Officer Donnelly barked, his hand hovering near his holster. Marcus calmly rolled down the window. Evening, officer. May I ask what this is about? You can ask, Donnelly said coldly, but I'll be the one asking questions. Marcus sighed softly and handed over his ID. Donnelly's eyes flickered down at the name, Marcus L. Tillman. The address listed was Arlington, Virginia, the kind of address that made the officer frown. What brings you this way? Donnelly asked suspiciously. I'm on my way to visit my mother, Marcus replied evenly. She lives about 20 miles from here. But Donnelly wasn't listening. He was looking at Marcus's skin, his expensive car, and the neat, pressed military jacket he wore. It didn't fit the story he had built in his head. Within minutes, 2 more patrol cars arrived. Flashlights cut through the night, and the quiet hum of crickets was drowned by police radios crackling orders. Marcus tried to remain calm. He had been in war zones, he had stared into enemy fire, but the tension in that moment felt colder and more dangerous than anything overseas. Step out of the vehicle, Donnelly ordered. Marcus hesitated. Officer, I don't believe. I said step out. The door swung open. Marcus complied, hands visible, calm but firm. He stood tall, 6 feet of quiet authority. His uniform jacket caught the beam of a flashlight, revealing the faint outline of 4 silver stars on his shoulder. But the officers didn't notice, or maybe they didn't care. Put your hands on the hood. Officer, I think you're making a mistake. Donnelly sneered. I'll decide what's a mistake. As he grabbed Marcus's wrist and yanked it behind his back, the old general winced, not from pain, but from disbelief. He had trained thousands of soldiers, led missions across 3 continents, and stood beside presidents. Yet here he was, face pressed against a police car, handcuffs clamped tight around his wrists, being treated like a criminal in the country he had given his life to protect. At the station, Marcus sat silently while Donnelly filled out paperwork, pride swelling in his voice. Pulled over a guy with no clear reason to be where he was. Found him acting suspicious. Claims he's some kind of general, Donnelly said to another officer, smirking. Bet he just bought that jacket online. Marcus looked up quietly. You can verify my identity. There's a number in my phone, labeled, Pentagon Operations. Make the call. Donnelly laughed. Oh, sure. Maybe after I call the White House, too. But Marcus didn't laugh. He looked the officer squarely in the eye, a calm authority radiating from him. Then let me make the call myself. With a roll of his eyes, Donnelly shoved the phone toward him. Marcus dialed 1 number. 1 call. The line picked up almost immediately. General Tillman. Sir, are you all right? Came a sharp, commanding voice. This is General Tillman, Marcus said evenly. I've been detained by local law enforcement in Georgia. I'm currently at the Clarksville Police Department. There was a stunned silence. Then, understood, sir. Stay put. We'll handle it. 15 minutes later, the quiet station erupted with chaos. Phones rang off the hook. The chief stormed out of his office, face pale as chalk. Who the hell arrested General Tillman? He shouted. Every head turned toward Donnelly. I didn't know. You didn't know. The chief bellowed. You handcuffed a 4-star general. The Pentagon just called my personal line. The Secretary of Defense is on his way. Donnelly's face went white. Marcus sat calmly, watching the unraveling scene with quiet dignity. The same officer who had sneered at him minutes ago now stood frozen, unable to meet his gaze. Within an hour, a sleek black SUV with government plates pulled up. 2 men in formal military attire entered, followed by a Pentagon liaison. The entire station fell silent as they saluted. General Tillman, sir, one of them said. We deeply apologize for this disgraceful incident. Marcus nodded, not with arrogance, but with the quiet grace of a man who had endured far worse. Thank you. But I'm not here for apologies. I just want this moment to mean something. He turned to Donnelly, whose hands now trembled. Officer, you judged me not by what I did, but by what I look like. You saw my skin, not my service, not my story. That's the real crime here. Donnelly swallowed hard. Sir, I didn't mean. Marcus raised a hand. I know what you meant. I just hope next time you meet someone who doesn't look like you think before you act. The Pentagon officials escorted Marcus outside. As he stepped into the night, the same stars that glinted on his shoulder shone above him in the sky, symbols of the country he still loved, despite its flaws. A reporter's camera crew, having caught wind of the story, filmed him leaving the station. When asked for a comment, he said only this: "Greater than, respect shouldn't depend on the color of a man's skin. It should depend on the content of his character and the sacrifices he's made for others." The video went viral overnight. The next morning, millions watched as the headlines read, "Black U.S. Army General Wrongfully Arrested, Pentagon Responds Swiftly." Public outrage grew, but so did awareness. Training programs, policy reviews, and conversations about racial profiling began happening in departments across the country. And as for General Tillman, he returned to his duties, quietly, humbly, with the same steadfast resolve that had defined his entire career. But now, every time he looked at his uniform, he remembered that night, and the fight that was still unfinished, not on foreign soil, but right here at home.